Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling a topic that, frankly, I think most of us have completely wrong.
Mm,
We're talking about travel, but uh, specifically we're looking at the explosion of senior travel.
right.
And before you tune out thinking this is all about bus tours and name tags, you need to wipe that image from your mind immediately.
It really is a completely different landscape now. I mean, if you look at the data and the stories coming out of this demographic, the sedate senior, it's largely a myth.
Yeah, we're looking at a stack of sources today that paints a picture of a group that's adventurous, tech-savvy, and in some cases completely untethered from a permanent home.
Totally untethered.
We're talking about gap years for 60-somethings,
Mhm.
people selling their house to live in Airbnbs for a decade.
Exactly. So the mission today is to unpack how the concept of the senior traveler has been, well, redefined.
Right.
We've got resources here covering everything from the logistics of nomadic living to specific deep dives on navigating cities like London, and even some really surprising safety hacks.
And it's not just about leisure anymore, is it? It feels like it's about participation.
That's the key word, participation. It's a shift from I want to see the world to I want to live in the world.
Okay.
Whether that's volunteering on an army base, which, yes, we will get to, or navigating the hostel system at age 70.
So let's jump right in with the people who are actually doing this. We have to talk about the senior nomads, Michael and Debbie Campbell. Their story is it's wild to me.
It is.
They started traveling in 2013,
Yeah.
and they basically they didn't stop.
Their story is the perfect case study for this shift. And what's interesting is the catalyst. It wasn't just, a vague desire to see the Eiffel Tower.
No.
Their daughter, who was living in Paris, she actually suggested it. She basically said, why don't you retire early, come visit, and then just stay out there.
Which sounds like a pipe dream for most people. Hey, just travel forever.
Right, but they actually crunched the numbers.
That's the key.
They did. Michael ran the spreadsheets. He's clearly the logistics guy. And they realized something pretty counterintuitive.
What's that?
If they sold everything, the house in Seattle, the sailboat, the cars, the daily cost of living on the road in Airbnbs was actually manageable. It was comparable to the overhead of just staying put in a major U.S. city.
That is the aha moment. It's
Mhm.
shifting from paying for a mortgage to paying for experiences.
Precisely. And they weren't staying in hotels. They were living in other people's homes through Airbnb, which let them cook their own meals and feel like locals.
And they've been everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. Over 95 countries now, including, the stands and all 17 former Soviet republics.
That is not a grand tour. That is an expedition.
Well, it highlights that shift, right? From accumulating things to accumulating experiences. They literally liquidated their stuff to buy freedom.
And they aren't the only ones doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
We also looked at the Dodgy Knees blog.
Great name.
I absolutely love that name, Dodgy Knees. It's so self-deprecating, but I mean, reading their blog, these guys are hardcore.
They are. Ken and Callie Hardacre, they call themselves over 50 independent travelers, and they did a massive gap year in 2016 and 2017.
A gap year, that's usually for like 19-year-olds finding themselves in Thailand.
Exactly. But Ken and Callie's whole philosophy is that you don't need the tour group. They're going to Mongolia, they're going to Georgia, the country, not the state, the Balkans.
Wow.
They are proving that older travelers can handle the offbeat path just as well as any backpacker.
Okay, but let's get practical. Because if you're going to 54 countries or, living out of a suitcase for 10 years like the Campbells, you cannot pack like my aunt does for a weekend wedding.
No, you need a system.
Right.
You need a capsule wardrobe. Our sources were very specific about this. If you're dealing with mobility issues or just the fatigue of hauling luggage, weight is your absolute enemy.
What's the formula?
The formula we found is surprisingly strict. We're talking 3 tops, 2 to 3 bottoms, and maybe 1 dress.
3 tops. For a whole trip, that sounds like a laundry nightmare.
It requires discipline. The trick is neutral colors. If everything matches everything else, 3 tops suddenly gives you a whole lot of outfits.
I suppose.
And they were specific about fabrics, too. You have to be really careful with denim.
Oh, don't tell me to leave the jeans at home.
I mean, ideally, yes. They're heavy, they take up a ton of space, and if you wash them in a hotel sink, they take, 3 days to dry?
True. But there was a hack if you have to bring them right for the thigh rub problem.
Yes, exactly. Where the friction just wears out the inner thigh of the denim.
Happens to the best of us.
The tip was to use iron-on patches on the inside of the jeans before you even leave. Reinforce the fabric preemptively.
So you don't end up with a hole halfway through a walking tour in Rome.
You got it. That is a pro tip.
Speaking of comfort, we have to talk about the plus-size travel tips section. This was really eye-opening, specifically about air travel. I think a lot of people have anxiety about fitting in those shrinking airline seats.
Absolutely. And there was a great tip about Southwest Airlines specifically.
Yeah.
They have a customer of size policy that's incredibly generous. You can purchase an extra seat to ensure you have room, and then, this is the key part, you apply for a refund for that extra seat after the flight.
That is huge. So you secure your comfort up front,
Right.
but you don't have to pay double in the end.
It just removes that anxiety of will I fit or will I be encroaching on my neighbor? It allows you to travel with dignity.
There are other comfort hacks too, right?
Yeah.
For just the physical toll of it all.
Yes. Using body glide sticks to prevent chafing is, well, it's crucial if you're walking 10 miles a day sightseeing.
Sure.
And there was a great tip about the seatbelt extender. Instead of waiting until you're squeezed in the seat to ask for one, you ask for it as you board.
Right. Just take control of the situation so you aren't embarrassed or uncomfortable later.
Exactly. And on swimwear, because seniors do swim, there were good recommendations for more modest but functional suits. Things like swim skirts with built-in leggings or rash guards that can double as shirts.
It's all about being comfortable so you can actually do the thing you came to do.
That's it.
Let's shift gears to technology, because the Campbells and the Hardacres, they aren't navigating by the stars. They're using apps.
Right. TripIt for organizing the itinerary is pretty standard, but PackPoint is the one that stood out to me.
What's that one do?
It generates a packing list for you based on the weather at your destination and your planned activities.
So it tells you if you need the raincoat or the swimsuit.
Correct. It removes the guesswork. And obviously, Google Maps is essential for transit. Which brings us to our destination deep dive. We have a really detailed guide here for London.
And for anyone listening who thinks they know London, there were some gems in here I had never heard of.
London is a great case study for senior travel because it's accessible, but only if you know the tricks. Well, the biggest one is the Oyster card. If you're a senior resident, you travel free. But for tourists, you need that visitor Oyster card. Do not pay cash.
But the real insider tip was about the tube versus the bus, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The tube is iconic, but it's Victorian infrastructure, which means stairs, lots of stairs, long walks between transfer lines, deep tunnels.
Not great for dodgy knees.
Not at all. The sources heavily recommend the bus system for step-averse travelers. You see the city, and it's all cashless now. Easy to hop on and off.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The fake houses of Leinster Gardens. I love this kind of trivia.
It is fascinating. Numbers 23 and 24 Leinster Gardens. If you walk past, they look like these grand white stucco townhouses.
But they're not.
No, they're just facades. They're about 5 feet thick. It's just a wall.
A very fancy wall.
Why? They were built to hide the ventilation tracks for the underground, the original open-air tracks. The neighbors were too posh to look at a hole in the ground, so the railway built fake houses.
And apparently tricksters used to send pizza deliveries there.
To a door with no handle. It's a quirky stop, but it makes the city feel more alive than just, visiting Big Ben again.
What else was on that list? Something about Sotheby's.
Yes, the auction house. You can visit before an auction to see world-famous art for free. It's like a museum, but the art isn't behind bulletproof glass.
Before it disappears into a private collection forever.
Exactly. And then there's Smithson of Bond Street.
Stationary place.
A stationery museum, essentially. They made stationery for Indian Maharajas in the 1920s. A very niche, very specific slice of history.
And the conversation bench
Yeah.
with Churchill and FDR, where you can just squeeze right in between them.
A great photo op. But beyond London, the sources did highlight a few other senior-friendly cities.
Right. There was San Diego.
For the flat coastal walks and Balboa Park. Prague for the history and the fact that it's very affordable.
And Vancouver.
And Vancouver for that mix of city and nature.
But getting between these cities. Let's talk about the journey itself. The sources had a lot to say about trains.
Trains are seeing a huge resurgence for this demographic. It's that balance of comfort and scenery. You aren't driving, you aren't cramped in a plane.
Like the Glacier Express in Switzerland.
The perfect example. It's called the slowest express train in the world.
Which sounds like a contradiction.
It is. It takes 8 hours to go about 180 miles, but you cross 291 bridges. It's all about the view, not the speed.
And then there's the Rocky Mountaineer in Canada.
With those glass-domed coaches, you're winding through the Rockies with a panoramic view.
And for ultimate luxury, the Blue Train in South Africa.
That's the one described as a 5-star hotel on wheels, a real bucket list item.
Okay, so then we have the flip side of luxury, the RV lifestyle.
Right.
This is where we get back to the nitty-gritty. We have this romantic idea of van life, but the source, RV Tips and Trips, drops a very serious truth bomb. Don't get poop on yourself.
I mean, it's a valid warning, the black water tank. It's the reality of the road. It's not glamorous.
No.
Yeah.
You have to know how to dump the waste. But it's the price of admission for that kind of freedom.
But once you get past that, the tools available are amazing. I really like the sound of Harvest Hosts.
This is a game changer for RVers. Instead of staying in a concrete RV park, you pay a membership fee, and then you can stay at wineries, breweries, or farms.
So you buy a bottle of wine and you get to park for the night in a vineyard.
Exactly. It turns the overnight stop into an experience rather than just a logistical necessity.
I want to talk about the solo traveler, because I think there's a specific fear that comes with traveling alone as you get older. You worry about safety, you worry about being lonely.
That's a very real concern. And the Boomer Travel Gals source addresses this head on. Their advice is to start small.
Right. Don't book a month in India for your first solo trip.
Exactly. Drive an hour away, stay in a hotel, go to dinner alone.
That eating alone part is the hardest hurdle for a lot of people, that feeling that everyone is staring at you. It is. But once you conquer that, the world really opens up. And they had some practical safety tools, too. A whistle, which is simple but effective.
And tactical pens.
Yeah, I had to look this up. It's a pen that writes, but it's also a machine skill. It can break glass in an emergency or be used for self-defense.
But it just looks like a pen.
It looks innocuous, so you can usually take it anywhere.
And portable door locks.
Yes, these are small devices you can jam into a hotel door for an extra layer of security. Gives you that peace of mind to sleep soundly.
Now, what if you want to travel alone, but you want a purpose? Not just sightseeing. The voluntourism section was really surprising to me.
This is a complex topic. Voluntourism combines travel with volunteering. But the expert perspective here is important.
Yeah.
It usually isn't free.
Right. It can be quite expensive.
It can. You're paying for your room, board, and supervision. A 2-week trip to Peru or South Africa could cost anywhere from, say, $1,000 to $3,000.
But there are some incredible opportunities. I had no idea the Peace Corps has no upper age limit.
None.
Yeah.
They explicitly mention this. If you're healthy and you have the skills, you can go. It's a massive commitment, of course, but the door is open.
And then there's the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces.
That was a fascinating find. They have a program called SAR-L, where seniors can volunteer on army bases.
You're not out on patrol, though, right? You're not in basic training.
No, it's logistics. Checking expiration dates on medical packs, repairing helmets, packing kits. It's meaningful work, but you're living in barracks and eating in the mess hall.
So it's gritty.
Very gritty, but for the right person, deeply rewarding.
And for those who want something a bit gentler, there's always garden volunteering.
Yes. In the UK, botanical gardens often take volunteers. It's a great way to see a different side of a country and meet people.
Let's talk money. Because even if you sell your house like the Campbells, you want to save a buck. And there's a myth we need to bust right now.
Which is?
Hostels are not just for youth.
Correct. Hosteling International has no age limit. And here is the hack of the century for older travelers who value their sleep.
Okay, I'm ready.
You book a dorm room, but specifically a 2-bed dorm room.
How does that work?
If the hostel isn't full, they often won't put a stranger in with you. So you pay the dorm rate, which is a fraction of a hotel cost, but you often end up with a private room.
And even if you do get a roommate, it solves the loneliness issue we were just talking about.
Exactly. There was a story about a 79-year-old backpacker who stays in hostels just for the company. She likes the buzz of the common room.
But if hostels aren't your thing, there are standard discounts you need to be grabbing.
Oh, yeah. In the U.S., the National Parks Lifetime Senior Pass, it's $80. That is a steal.
It pays for itself so quickly.
Right. If you visit 3 parks, you're ahead. And Amtrak gives a 15% discount.
Europe is a bit trickier with the trains, though.
It is. Rail cards in Europe often need to be purchased locally. You can't always just click a button and buy them from home.
You have to go to the station.
You might need to go to the station in France or Italy, show your passport to prove your age, and buy the card there. But it can save you anywhere from 10 to 50% on tickets.
So we've covered nomads, London secrets, RV waste management, tactical pens, and hostel hacks. When you look at this whole stack of information, what's the big picture here?
The big picture is that senior travel has shifted from observation to participation. It's not just about seeing the sights, it's about engaging with the world.
Right.
Whether that's the Campbells embedding themselves in a neighborhood in Split, or a solo traveler volunteering at an archaeological dig.
It feels like the barriers are lower than people think.
The physical and logistical barriers are lower for sure, thanks to technology and accessibility laws. But the mental barrier, that fear of the unknown, that's what these resources really try to dismantle.
But a word of caution on the voluntourism part.
Yes, critical thinking is required. Just because you are paying to volunteer doesn't mean you are helping. You have to make sure the money supports the local economy and that your presence is actually useful.
And preparation.
Preparation is key. Spontaneity is great, but only if you have your meds, your insurance, and your backup plan sorted out first.
That makes sense. You can be a nomad, but be a smart nomad.
Exactly.
So we leave you with this thought. We talked about the senior nomads, Michael and Debbie Campbell, who sold it all to live in Airbnbs for over a decade. It sounds extreme, but it raises a question. What is actually tethering you to your current location? Is it essential? Or is it just stuff? Could you handle the freedom of being a senior nomad?
It's a scary question, but an exciting one.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Safe travels, everyone.
Goodbye.